through a vast region of mountains and plains, timbered slopes and craggy snow peaks, desert wasteland and fertile valleys, flows the Columbia, gentle in places, wild and tempestuous in others. Endlessly moving, never resting, the Columbia carves its way through two great mountain ranges, coursing more than 1,200 miles, dropping more than 2,700 feet to spill its force into the Pacific. Through the ages, the river has been the servant of man, carrying him and his goods upon its broad back, giving him food. Along its banks are the ancestral fishing grounds of Northwest Indians. Only in recent times has man acquired the skill, the wisdom, the vision to make full use of the Columbia. The Columbia River Basin, with almost a tenth of the land area of the United States, is opening new opportunities for enterprise as its rivers are developed. Locked within the mountains and valleys of this rich region lie untold sources of yet untapped wealth. Late in spring and summer months, when waters of most rivers are low, melting snows of the Rockies feed hundreds of creeks and streams pouring into the Columbia. Unchecked in their prodigious descent, the rushing waters mean waste. Waste of soil, wealth, innumerable hours of energy, lost forever. The Pacific Northwest, a region short of coal, oil, and other fuels, must look to the river for its principal source of energy, in the power which falling water can generate. First completed unit of the most powerful hydroelectric system ever conceived is Bonneville Dam, built and operated by the United States Army Corps of Engineers. Federal dams in the Columbia Basin provide irrigation, navigation, flood control, power. Bonneville was built for both navigation and power. Locks with a lift of 70 feet raise ships and barges to help them reach inland ports hundreds of miles from the sea. Mile-long ladders help migrant fish in their journey from the sea to freshwater spawning grounds. Bonneville's 10 generators have the force of more than 700,000 horses, a capacity of 560,000 kilowatts. 560,000 kilowatts when there is enough water to spin the turbines. During many months, there is more than enough water. But late in the year, many streams begin to dry, and dry streams won't turn generators. Electric energy in large quantities cannot be stored, but water that turns the generators can be stored. When the river waters slow down, Bonneville must look to the storage reservoirs upstream for more water to turn the generators. Grand Coulee in northeast Washington is a key dam in the Columbia River system. Stored water from above Grand Coulee, released when needed, keeps downstream run-of-the-river dams operating at increased capacity. During World War II, Grand Coulee was the world's greatest power producer. It yielded for defense billions of kilowatt-hours of electric energy. To do the same work with human muscle would take 1 million men pounding with sledgehammers nearly 100 years. Built by the Bureau of Reclamation, Grand Coulee is an irrigation and power dam. Spring floodwaters are pumped above Roosevelt Lake into great canals. These waters will give new life to more than 1 million thirsty acres of rich but arid land. Water which would have been wasted will provide food and jobs and better living for thousands of new families in the Pacific Northwest. To help meet the region's increasing need for power, McNary Dam near Umatilla in Oregon is nearing completion. With its spillway, powerhouse, and earth abutments, McNary is nearly 1.5 miles wide. To complete projects like this on schedule and in the right order takes vision, cooperation, and a careful understanding of long-range planning. High in the mountains of western Montana, on the South Fork of the Flathead River, is Hungry Horse Dam. Waters held from the floods of late spring and early summer will be saved for fall and winter months when power demands are greatest. Northwest power needs of today are small compared to what they will be when our children come of age. It is for them the resources of the region are being developed. Operated as an integrated system, the river can yield many millions of dollars in extra benefits. Take these dams on the Columbia River: Bonneville, the Dalles, McNary, Chief Joseph, Grand Coulee, then Albany Falls and Hungry Horse, which are mainly storage dams. During summer months, when there is more than enough water to operate downstream generators, these dams hold back and conserve excess water. In the fall, when streams begin to run low, Hungry Horse goes to work. The stored water flows through the generators and heads downstream to Albany Falls, where it is used a second time. The same waters continue through generators at Grand Coulee. Hungry Horse water is again used at Chief Joseph, then at McNary, and on to the Dalles. Finally, the same waters reach Bonneville and increase generation. As more water is needed, Albany Falls starts releasing its storage. This water follows the same pattern of use over and over again downstream. Next, the huge reservoir of Grand Coulee starts releasing its 5 million acre-feet of storage to supply downstream power plants. Operated separately, the dams in this system would give about 3 million kilowatts of prime power. Coordinated, the same system gains extra prime power equal to 2.5 dams like Bonneville. In winter months, Hungry Horse can serve Montana loads and also release part of its energy to flow west into the main Columbia River system. In the spring, when Columbia waters are high, power from downstream flows east over the transmission system to serve Montana loads while the reservoir refills. In this way, the entire region receives more year-round power than Hungry Horse operated alone could provide. With the transmission system, energy that would otherwise be wasted is used to serve regional loads while the reservoirs refill. Around the year's cycle, the transmission network permits complete integration of power projects and full coordination of water resources. Controlling the huge network is like conducting a great symphony orchestra in which precision, timing, and harmony are essential to great performance. The power symphony is directed from a central control panel where the delicate balance between power resources and power requirements is maintained. Complete reliability of service depends upon split-second communication of intelligence from all parts of the system.
And check open the line disconnect.
Check open line disconnect.
And check open and 2185 disconnect.
Check open 2185 disconnect.
And close the ground switch 2180.
Free enterprise works hand in hand with government to build up a region's economy, creating new jobs, new opportunities for processing and fabrication enterprises, millions of dollars in new taxable wealth. New basic industries, electrochemical industries, aluminum reduction and fabrication, abrasives and carbons, lumber and wood products, pulp and paper manufacture. New families, new farms, new towns, new industries, new services, all creating heavier demands for cheap and abundant power. Portland, Seattle, Tacoma, Spokane, metropolitan centers all thrive under the new impetus, the reawakening of the Pacific Northwest. Sites like this in America's deepest canyon can hold millions of acres of water for all purposes, including power, reclamation, and navigation. These dams will cut the crests of disastrous floods. Carefully harnessed, the river can serve all of these purposes without serious conflict. Building the most economical combination of reservoirs and tying them into the region's power system will save untold millions of dollars of the nation's wealth. The waters of the region must be made to serve the region as a whole. The total benefits an integrated system can produce are far greater than could ever be yielded by the same number of plants operated independent of one another. System integration demands a balanced water supply for irrigation, navigation, and flood control. A balanced supply of power at the place and time it is needed anywhere in the region, any time in the year. Our national population is growing. It will reach 190 million within 25 years. To fulfill the promise of the American way, a constantly rising standard of living for all, the wise development of our key resource, water, is essential. To use the greatest advantages of the river, each project must be considered in its relation to all of the others. Coordinated operation will provide an effective tool for the development of the region's wealth and the strength of our nation. The great objective behind the program is the strengthening of our way of life on a more enduring basis. The value of a civilization is to be measured not only in terms of the number of rocket planes or atom bombs it can produce, but in what that civilization offers in the way of ample and abundant living.